Capricorn, this is your April 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then this is your reading for the month ahead. It's Romy. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and join me for this cosmic conversation. So we're into Aries energy as we move into April, and we open up with the energy of the Hermit for you. I think there's no middle ground actually for you this month. It's really a case of all or nothing, because you can't accept being in this place of indecision or limbo any longer, whether that has been self-imposed or whether you have been or are part of a situation, experience, connection perhaps, that's just meant it's been like one step forward, two steps back. And we've arrived at this point where the urgency and the desire to want to take action is so loud and so clear and so insistent that kind of whatever the cost, you just simply must move in the direction that you're feeling compelled to go towards at this moment in time. Now, we're going to open up April with a little bit of a challenging square between Mercury and Pluto. And it means the conversations that are going to take place, the messages, the energy around that is definitely backing us into a corner a little bit. And again, this might sort of bring about, I think, from a place of wisdom with the Hermit energy, but certainly a decisiveness and a maturity actually, because I think you're just simply not going to accept being pulled back into something. And as we approach the full moon on the 5th, 16 degrees of Libra, of course the focus and intention is to explore these themes around me versus we with Aries and Libra energy. But, you know, how can I maintain a level of peace and balance within myself and show up in this connection, this relationship, in a way that really serves me and my highest good, so that I don't lose myself. At the same time, understanding there's always a level of compromise or some sense of having to meet somebody halfway, but just make sure you're not overcompensating around this full moon, because there's an awful lot that's going to be brought to light. And people have an incredible tendency to sort of redirect things back around and make you feel like, you know, it was your fault, or it's been, you know, the way that you've approached something or how you've done something. And, you know, some of this manipulation that I sort of pick up in the early part of April, I really see you kind of squashing and sort of really drawing a line under it. And, you know, sometimes the richness of our inner world becomes a more comfortable place to be when the harshness or the discord of an external reality that either we're viewing or witnessing in the world, or, you know, is very much a part of our personal pathway, just becomes too much. And in 4th house energy of Aries season, what you're learning is really how to level and balance, you know, both that inner and outer world. And I think what needs to take place for you this month, and certainly what I see emerging, Queen of Cups here, is this intuitive kind of desire to take this journey and make sense of where you've been. Really reflect on the desires that are pulling you forward, but most importantly, find that deep acceptance of the present so that you can be released actually from being overly constrained either by the past or by the future. And, you know, we may have this situation where, you know, both of these energies for me are quite passive, yeah, but they're also bringing a tremendous amount of wisdom and just inner knowing to a situation. And remember, Mars in Cancer now is telling us that we don't need to act with brute force. Actually, as long as our heart feels moved by the experience or the energy, we'll be willing to take action. And I wish people around you could kind of understand that. And that would be so much easier in order for, you know, common ground to be found or a solution to be arrived at. But regardless, I think, you know, there is this case from your perspective of like, I've got to be all in now. Yeah. And there's a reminder of not letting anyone or anything, and especially the rejection of you or anything that you are presenting, expressing, creating, mean that you end up rejecting yourself. Yeah. So you got to be very aware, because everyone is like getting picked up and moved on their pathways right now. So it's kind of like an energy where it can be very difficult in April to sort of sit down and have a really present, meaningful conversation with somebody because they are so distracted by the big headlines of their own life right now and where they're being directed and pulled at a profoundly deep spiritual level, as are you, that it means that we're all kind of like caught up in me, myself, and I right now, because we have to get this right. We have to really listen and know what are the moves that I need to make, what are the choices and the judgments that are coming through thick and fast that are so important, because there is that urgency during Aries season. Now, after the full moon, even if there are a little bit of some feathers that have been ruffled, we have this really nice, soothing conversation between Venus and Neptune happening on the 7th. And so what that means, and I think this is an overall theme for the month, Capricorn, is that, regardless of the intensity of the storm or the situation, we have a respite, we have a reconciliation, we have a apology, we have a makeup, we have a sort of soul-soothing experience that sort of brings us back into a sense of balance and really supports us to continue this movement forward, because really that's what the universe is asking and needing and wanting from us. Now, as we approach mid-month, on the 10th, we're going to see Venus shifting into Gemini, and this means that the art of negotiation in areas connected to our finances, connected to our love relationships, our sense of value and worth, we become experts at being able to communicate and articulate that very clearly. Ace of Cups says that there's a beautiful sense of renewal that has come in for you about how you see yourself and what position you expect to hold in any given situation, which is one of reciprocity and respect and being given the grace to have a voice and to show up as who you are and be able to bring everything that you have that's of value to that situation. Now, there's a new beginning coming through here. I feel like there's a little passive-aggressive energy coming towards you, maybe somebody that's not so happy or making life really difficult for you as you explore and feel into some of that new beginning. And that feels exciting, actually. That feels like something that is really opening up the heart space for you. And, unfortunately, not everyone can get on board or understand some of the choices and decisions that you may be making at this time. But Venus in Gemini brings a flirtatious, playful, lighter energy. I like this for you. The explosion of butterflies here saying, there's something to feel into by way of anticipation. It's very big, it's very beginning stages. It's very raw in kind of what it's showing up as. It may not fully form itself through the month of April to give you any sense of absolute clarity as to the true value of it, but you'll know by the way it feels. Yeah, and whether that's coming in a relationship sense or just something that you get sparked by way of a new idea or something that you stumble across by way of supporting and investing in yourself from a soul perspective, a self-love and spiritual journey. This bodes really well. And again, I feel like if we can remember that everything we want you to do this month should be from a place of love, not for love. And if you can feel the difference of that, it will truly transform and kind of dissipate any sense of force or trying to control or push for something to happen. And it will put you right back into this beautiful, receptive, generous, grateful energy where things can flow much more easily. Now on the 11th, we have this really beautiful aspect with the Sun conjunct Jupiter in this fire Aries energy. We also have Venus trining Pluto. Last time Sun conjunct Jupiter in Aries was April 2011. You might want to think back around what was taking place for you then. But we certainly have an upside, some exciting news, something heartfelt being communicated or expressed to you. And with the wish here, it feels like you've perhaps been waiting for it for some time. The fact that he's kind of standing on top of a lot of books here suggests to me that someone's gone away and done their homework. They've done the research. They've taken time to learn or to really work on themselves or something. And so what they come forth with or what gets presented back to you, even if it's not necessarily someone like immediately personally, but it's still getting communicated to you in a way from knowledge and from a sense of earnest and kind of genuine, I want to help you, I want to support you, I want to bring something to the table that feels advantageous to you. I think you can really feel in and trust that. Okay, so coming in on the 11th of the month, regardless of how tricky circumstances may feel for you, even how isolated you might have felt trying to navigate or handle or deal with something on your own, there's certainly a sense of an upside or a positive charge of energy coming through around that time, so pay attention. Now, we're going to be, of course, making our way towards the second new moon in Aries, Act 2, coming in, solar eclipse, black moon on the 19th of the month, coming in at a critical 29 degrees, very fated energy being illuminated around this time. Not a time to set intentions. That was back in the first new moon in Aries on the 21st of March. This is a kind of, see how it comes together, see what's coalescing, what other details are being revealed, what redirects or shifts are going to take place. Remember, these eclipse energies are intense. Often the changes can feel a little non-negotiable. You have the King of Wands here, so the energy is charged and electrified and, beating the drum powerfully here, incredibly focused, a little bit intense actually by way of the focus. You might feel yourself or someone else is kind of coming across a bit strong. In fact, I think there's somebody really pushing for access to you, either because they want to be around your energy, maybe they're interested in you, maybe they want to know what you know. I think you have to be a little discerning around this. Make sure you've got some clear boundaries in place, because it'd be easy to just get kind of overwhelmed by the charm and the charisma of a King of Wands. But at the same time, there's a passion being ignited here. And of course, Aries season wants us to activate that within us, absolutely. And as you make your way into fifth house energy, which is going to happen the next day as the sun shifts into Taurus, that's right in the sweet spot of all that heart space, the creative vision, the romance, the idea of like, what does pleasure mean to you? And all of the ways in which you are still being invited, even though you may look out at the world and think, well, how can I possibly be entitled to be happy or find joy or look for creative childlike opportunities to kind of lose myself. And this is why I'm saying the balance between the richness of that inner world that sustains and nurtures and nourishes and keeps you going and keeps healing you and helps you to be the answer, the antidote, the solution to everything that you look at as being wrong and broken and just coming undone, frankly. Now, there may be a significant individual that shows up around this time, and I think that April certainly has that overall feeling to it. We have a significance to the people both in the seen and the unseen, fated encounters, people that are meant to be on our path, opening specific doors, helping us in extraordinary ways through the month of April. So look out for that in the physical, for somebody who's dynamic and encouraging of you taking a bolder risk and believing in yourself and having something to share with you by way of a nugget that feels just juicy and rich and amazing to kind of listen to and incredibly inspiring. But the other thing that my guide's been sharing with me is it's also time to really start talking and sharing more around how we're connecting in a stronger way than ever before to seventh dimensional energy. This is the archangel, the angelic realm. This is where elementals, the fae energy, and unicorns, and this is really what I wanted to bring through this month. I'm using 2 unicorn decks. My sacred soul support this month is a guided journey to help ascending with the unicorn energy. And regardless of your belief system, how open and receptive you are to the idea of these mythical energies here to support us at soul level, I encourage you to at least find a level of neutrality to their presence and their purpose right now. Because if you are blocking that, then what else are you blocking? And as our realities continue to be blown wide open, and we are clearing ourselves of old programming, there are so many things that you could never have believed would have been true or something that would be part of your reality are going to start to become commonplace and even business as usual. So here, as we raise our frequency from spiritual light workers to counteract what we see playing out in the world, we are able to have a stronger communication link and channel to the seventh dimension than we ever have before. And again, this helps support this feeling of tapping into parts of yourself that perhaps have been really pushed to the side and suppressed for a very long time. And the Hanged Man, I think, is really beautiful here because it really helps you to see things from a completely different vantage point. And you have to surrender your beliefs. You have to surrender everything that you thought was true about a certain situation, about life. And through this, there's the epiphany and the moment of clarity where something is revealed to you. And that's going to be extraordinary. Now, we also, through that Hanged Man, need to pay attention and be mindful of the fact that we have a Mercury retrograde coming 21st of the month in Taurus. So of course things are going to start to feel a little haywire at that point, especially because we've had this charge and momentum and kind of pushing through. Now you've been showing up in a little bit of a receptive energy, so I think you're kind of prepared to be able to navigate the shift and the change in energetic timelines, if you like, through this month of April. I suppose if you can be prepared for all eventualities, that's going to be really helpful. And definitely don't try to overcomplicate anything, because it's going to get harder to explain or be clear or even remind yourself why you thought what you thought or you were doing what you were doing as we come toward the end of the month. But I see a genuine upside for this Mercury retrograde, and I think that's because these big headlines that have got everybody so kind of running around fanatical because of the eclipse and all of the planetary shifts from March, has been extraordinary. And we kind of need to stop and catch our breath for a second. And that's what this retrograde is going to help you to do. Just like, don't forget about the details. And okay, this just happened. How do I feel? Am I still breathing? Like, what's going on in my body? Where do I just need to give myself a little bit more space or time to kind of process this? So I think that can be incredibly helpful, at the same time as recognizing all of the things that, of course, we come to know about Mercury retrograde, and being prepared and keeping our schedule nice and light and being nice and flexible for that. You might have to surrender into some of the ways in which things are showing up, perhaps a little bit out of order to what you'd anticipated or expected. Last eclipse in Aries, you're going to go back to 2013. So again, think about that by way of a timeline as some of the things that might have been going on in your life. But this is a month to think about what you want to be known for and what you want to be known as, Capricorn. And, certainly as you're sort of making sense of where you've been, where you're heading, and perhaps having to be that inner parent for yourself, and making sure that you balance out your masculine and feminine, and being deeply aware of where you're overcompensating for one or the other. This is part of your soul growth, and especially in this current season. Now let's be aware that there's a little bit of an uncomfortable energy arriving on the 27th. Mars is going to square Chiron, which brings everything really close to home and close to the bone. So what gets said, what unfolds around this time could be a little hurtful, a little unnecessary, unjustified, if we like. But really, from a spiritual perspective, it's only being brought through to illuminate an area for healing. That's how we need to look at it. And the minute that we can accept that, then we get to kind of take that away and discover something more about ourselves. So a rich experience, but perhaps a slightly unpleasant or acidic one at that. Now, as I said, the moments of intensity are quickly followed by these more palatable, nourishing, soothing moments. And so we have a sweet surprise with Mars and Uranus coming in on the 29th. So anything that gets said or that happens in and around that 27th, there is a sort of make-up or reconciliation, a surprise gesture or something that comes in that's definitely going to make you feel a little bit more loved, supported, and back in balance with yourself, okay? And of course, sometimes we can be the ones that have said things out of turn, maybe reactionary, and there again is the time to kind of maybe consider how you want to approach that, and really the type of person you want to be in that moment. We're continuously learning and evolving at each stage, and to be able to put your hand up and just be honest and truthful and say, okay, this just happened and it's not me and it wasn't what I intended. That ability is going to be important to kind of recognize. So it may or may not come up in that way for you, but regardless, just know that April is this powerful opportunity to demonstrate to yourself and the universe how much you've grown. how much you've grown, what you want, and really clarifying that, but also being incredibly open to the ways in which you are being shifted and redirected. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, we do cover the 3 remaining cards off in the extended version of the reading. And you can find the link in the comment and description box for that below. I'm going to go ahead and just pull some clarifying cards now to see the direction we will be taking this. So beginning with a Hermit, we've got the Ace of Pentacles coming through. All the decks that I use are listed as well below. So as well as the Unicorn energy for the soul journey this month, we're also looking at releasing sacred vows, which for 4th house energy in Aries season for you could be really interesting to explore just what's going on ancestrally in the family lineage, past lives that is perhaps holding you back. You've got another King of Fire coming through here, perhaps some dominant fire signs showing up, or again this person coming in in significance. We've got another Hermit showing up. Of course, Virgo energy being eliminated here. Okay. Page of Swords. What do we have here? We've got Emperor energy. Wonder how you guys are feeling just following Pluto now shifting out of your sign. I know we have a little revisit later this year, but are you feeling the relief of the change of that? A couple of 10s showing up here. It's nice. Temperance, patience. Magician, 9 of Cups, beautiful. This is a month that really is asking you to move forward with an open mind, an open heart, and to be deeply aware of everything that is happening and trying to suspend judgment as it does, not trying to put your own meaning on things until you really see how things properly unfold. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my deck. You'll see the box here. I also have my new book, Moon Musings, which is now out. Thank you so much if you've pre-ordered. This is a curation of all my soul and astrological musings that I've shared with the collective. It will meet you wherever you are in your soul journey, just offering you guidance, healing, support. It's over on my website, but you'll also find it later this month on Amazon in both physical, digital and audio versions. So Queen of Fire coming through. We've got Spirit Stag, Heavenly Timing, Root Energy, beautiful. Spirit Wolf, Trust, Waterfalls of White Light, Spirit Bear, Ancestral Protection, beautiful. Lots of lovely animal energies showing up to guide you this month. Okay, let's look at our Unicorn Oracle decks. What do we have for you, Capricorn? Cycles. Everything has its right time. Honor the cycle of your body. Tune into the moon's magic. Beautiful. This is Diana Cooper's Oracle of the Unicorns. Cosmic Pearl. The gates are open. Expand your psychic gifts. Beautiful. All right, if you are joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this cosmic conversation. We'll also cover off a couple of cards for your own personal questions, so put some focus around that if you're joining me. And if not, I wish you a beautiful month of April. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting my work, and I'll see you again next time.